Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts, hold on tight. You're in for one incredibly awesome and super cool ride today on the Josh Nolan Full Throttle Racing Show, hashtag on one on YouTube. With me today, we have racing superstar, racing sensation, Ethan Ayers. Welcome to the show, Ethan.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So, Ethan, let's talk about your racing career. Where did this awesome journey start for you?
Well, long story short, while my dad was trying to break the bad news to me that we were moving from Colorado to Kansas City, he took me to a rental go-karting spot called Unser Karting. And while there, I ended up being pretty decent. We got told by somebody, like, "Hey, your kid might have a shot at this." So when we moved to Kansas City, we went to somebody that was well known in the industry, named Jim Russell Jr., and got fitted to a mini Swift and headed out.
Okay. So, when you first got in the race car to go out and actually compete for the first time, were you nervous at all, or did it just come naturally to you?
No, and actually, I didn't do very well. It was super nerve wracking. I didn't actually. I remember I didn't go full throttle. It was just completely different than doing the rental go karting. And of course, when I did the rental go karting, it was the first time I'd ever been in one. So this is a big step up immediately. So
So, Ethan, okay, how long before the success started coming in, as far as it started being, you know,
yeah, so locally it didn't take too long. It took maybe half a year, which in this kind of in racing, that's not too bad. But success didn't truly start coming until we started traveling and I started getting used to the cart after maybe about a year. So,
okay. So, Ethan, how much success have you had as a race car driver thus far?
so it's sometimes hard to gauge, but I've had a decent amount of success. I think for a young kid racing against a bunch of adults, I think we've done pretty well. So I have a decent amount of wins to my name, and so far things are going good. Things are going good.
Okay. So, Ethan, what is the story behind your race car number now? Where did that race car number come from?
So before we got into any kind of racing, before even unser karting, my parents got me a Martin Truex Jr. bumper, which is still in my room till this day. And he was sporting the number 78. It was his first year with the team, and I remember I saw that number and just falling in love with watching NASCAR. That's where it came from.
Okay. So, Ethan, when you're out there racing, what is your home track that you race on?
So there's no real close tracks to us that we race. The closest track to us is Heartland Park, but the one that I've raced the most in Spec Miata and other road racing stuff probably is VIR, Virginia International Raceway. It's a beautiful track.
Okay.
So
Okay. So, Ethan, what is your favorite track to race on?
gosh, that's a tough question because of how many we've done. Um, Karting side, probably the national Las Vegas circuit. That's probably they put it together in a parking lot. But I mean, again, probably VIR and all the road racing stuff, the Spec Miata, all that. It's just a well-rounded track that it takes a lot of skill to do. So I love it.
So, who's the team you drive for now, Ethan?
OPM Autosports and Tom Fowler.
Okay. So, Ethan, who is on your racing crew? Who helps get the car ready to go out on the track for you?
Well, there's Andreas and of course Tom. Tom does all the setup stuff. Andreas and Tristan mainly, they help. They do the process. So Tom puts it on paper, and those guys do it, and they're the ones who get us out on track.
Okay, okay. So, Ethan, what is the craziest thing, the worst thing you've had happen to you on the racetrack?
Man, so on the dirt oval side of things, the micro sprint side of things, they're really easy to flip. And so I've had maybe four flips, I think, in my career. My worst one was probably at Southern Illinois Raceway out in Illinois. I remember I was running, I think, fourth in a heat race, and I came in next to another car, wheel hopped, turned around, and when the car turned around abruptly, it did a backflip, and then I landed, and then got hit again multiple times. And I remember it was painful, but we ended up actually finishing the night. So
Did you get hurt at all in that wreck or not?
no, I don't I've never really gotten hurt in a car. Of course, every wreck hurts to a certain degree, but no real serious injuries. So
Okay. So Ethan, um, you're racing micro sprint now, right?
no, so right now I'm racing Spec Miatas. I just started that this year. I've raced dirt for the past maybe 3, 4 years, but made the transition back to asphalt.
Okay. So Ethan, well, you're doing Spec Miatas. What is your 5 year and 10 year plan with racing?
Um, well, so in the past, right, Spec Miata, but so far, I think moving forward, we're kind of interested in the Toyota GR86 series, and maybe even heading back to Microsprint for a couple more races. But past maybe 2, 3 years in the future, I'm not really sure what I want to do.
So not even in 10 years, you don't know what you want to do in 10 years either? Or?
I mean, I have goals. I have goals and aspirations. I think every race car driver does. But I'm trying to learn the process to attain those goals. And that's kind of where I sit right now. I'm just trying to learn the process. So
So do you have like, okay, what's your main goal for like in 10 years? You want to see yourself in an Indy car? Do you want to see yourself in NASCAR, World of Outlaws, or what?
so this is a tough question. If I had to choose one, it'd probably be on the oval side, like NASCAR or World of Outlaws or IndyCar, maybe even. But they're really hard disciplines. Another notable thing for me would be, IMSA, that kind of stuff. I just want main goal is to make a living off of just racing. Like that'd be amazing.
Okay. So Ethan, who is your racing hero? Who do you look up to as a race car driver?
Definitely Martin Truex Jr. Ever since the moment that my parents got me that bumper, I've just fallen in love with watching him, and we've been there since day one, at least for watching him racing, and watching him become a Cup champion and stuff like that. And he inspires me seriously. I try and match my driving style with him, and it's amazing, seriously.
So, Ethan, have you ever met Martin Truex Jr.?
I have once, and I remember he thought it was so cool that I was racing and in his number and racing, trying to match how he does it. Other big thing is when we did meet him is at Kansas Speedway, and I had his bumper with us, so he ended up signing it, and it was really cool. All the signatures are still up there. So,
Okay, okay. So, Ethan, who do you have for sponsors on your race car?
well, OPM is the main one. Other one is Tactical HR, medical imaging. Those are the two main ones. But of course, my mom and dad back me, and I just try to do everything I can to get new sponsors and build the racing family every day.
So, okay, are you still looking for new sponsors?
Absolutely, always will be.
So, okay, if I kind of go on here, kind of like right now, and kind of type of you're looking for new sponsors, how do they go in contact, get in contact with you? Do you have a Facebook page?
Yeah, so I have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff, and a bunch of spots where you can contact me. It's just my first and last name. It's super simple. I wanted to make it that way so that it was just easy to contact me.
So if there's anybody out here going to be watching this racing show with me and Ethan Ayers, and you want to spot him and help get him further into his racing career, reach out to Ethan Ayers on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Just reach out to him because he'd appreciate the sponsorship on his race cars as he gets further into his racing career. So Ethan, when you're at the racetrack and you're getting focused on the track, what helps get you mentally focused?
It's a bit different. I think honestly, music and I, I'm kind of a goofball at the track. I think I'm not super serious all the time. I like to have fun and I like to do things, but it's different. And I think some good music seriously just gets me right in the mood of getting ready to go out there and race.
So what type of music do you like to listen to, Ethan?
Um, Probably a little bit of rock is probably my go-to. So
Okay. Your go-to. Okay, would that be classic rock or nowadays rock or what rock genre?
really, I think early 2000s. It's like Linkin Park kind of thing.
Okay. I like some Linkin Park, Breaking Benjamin, that type of thing there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I also like some '80s hair metal rock too.
Gotcha. Some like Metallica maybe.
Oh yeah, some like Def Leppard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Ethan, when you're at the track and you're getting hungry, what's your favorite thing to eat at the track?
Ooh, so I am super basic. It's probably a hot dog or chicken tenders. I just keep it varies from track to track. Maybe there's some good stuff that I see on there that looks good, but other than that, I'm pretty basic with food. So
Okay, when you're away from the racetrack, what's your favorite restaurant to eat at?
it's unhealthy, and I try and stay as healthy as I can. But Panda Express is probably a pretty
Oh,
go to. Yeah, it's pretty
okay.
good.
And what's your favorite home cooked meal that your family makes for you, Ethan?
Oh my gosh! So my mom makes this really good, like Hawaiian chicken with a good sauce
Okay,
and some green beans. It's really good. So,
okay. So Ethan, who are some of your friends at the track?
well, some of my really good karting friends that I still kind of talk to this day, like Elliot Cox, Brent Cruz, Jace Park. Jace Park is a big one. He races 305 and 360 sprint cars. So he's someone that I really stay in touch with a lot. Another one at the track would be Oliver Piatek. He races for OPM Autosports as well. So
I've had Elliot Cox on the show, nevertheless.
I saw that. I saw that.
Also, do you talk to like Austin Olds at all or not?
So kinda. I've talked to him a couple of times. The main way I have is through Jace Park. Jace Park and Austin raced together for a couple of years, so they kind of knew each other decently.
Okay. So Ethan, what do your school friends think of you being a race car driver?
Oh, I think everybody thinks of it as pretty cool, but nobody really understands it. It's hard to explain to football players and baseball players because it's not entirely physical. It's a very mental sport. It's not as physical as other sports, so it's hard for some people to understand.
So Ethan, what do you like to do for fun away from the racetrack?
Man, some good golfing, I think, and probably actually tennis. It's kind of something that people don't think. I really like to go to the gym, so that's good time for me.
Tennis
So
and what's the other one? What's the other one besides tennis? Did you say
golf.
golf? Okay. Okay, talking about golf. Now here's a question I have to ask you golfers. Do you like frisbee golf? Or have you ever played frisbee golf?
So I haven't. There's a lot of stuff here in Missouri though, in like Kansas City. There's a lot of frisbee golf places out here. I should probably try it. I probably should.
It's
So
actually pretty fun. It's actually pretty fun. And it works your upper body muscles quite a bit. It does.
yeah, I could see that. Some like rotator cuff stuff. I could see that.
Oh yeah, yes. So Ethan, let me think here. Do you have any advice for the kids coming up in the racing world?
Oh my gosh, have fun. It's so important. It's so important that you enjoy the sport because you find yourself, if you enjoy it, you find yourself wanting to do the work. You find yourself wanting to be great. Where nobody else is pushing it on you. If you really love it and you're having fun, it makes it 10 times easier.
Okay. So Ethan, okay, do you have a racing nickname?
Not really. So we came up with some a little while ago, E-Man stuff like that, but not really. It's kind of hard to say my last name though, so that's interesting for the announcers.
I'll tell you what, they kind of created one for me when I first started this racing show. It's called the Full Throttle Rockstar. So that's pretty cool. It kind of grows on a person. So
That's a good
Ethan,
nickname.
I'm gonna turn the mic over to you now, kind of put you on the spot. You get to ask me some questions. How's that?
Gotcha. All right. So when did you really get your interest in racing?
Crazy enough, Ethan, when I was 6 years old, it was the first sport I gravitated towards, and it was just like it clicked right away. It just clicked right away. And the minute I seen it on TV, I was like, this is my sport.
Yeah. Just kind of
Yeah.
love that you can't really describe.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Gotcha. When did you think it would be a like good idea and a fun idea to start a podcast where you interview racers and people around racing?
Crazy enough, crazy enough. Now, this goes back quite a ways. It goes back to when I was in high school because I graduated in 99. So my mom and dad have always said, when I was growing up, you should pursue something in racing, do something in racing, work in the racing industry. And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, do your own racing show. And I was like, yeah, right. Well, okay. So needless to say, my mom and dad and sister have all passed away, but my mom and sister passed away first. So my dad's around and he's like, you should really rethink this and redo this. And I was like, well, I don't know the avenues of it. Well, some guy over in Paulina, Iowa was the one that kind of got a hold of me and shot me the idea. And he's like, hey, I've been friends with you for 4 or 5 years. I've noticed one thing. You have a lot of race car drivers on your Facebook page. Do something with it. And I was like, what are you talking about, Clay Evans? And he says, me and my son both race, host your own racing show. And I was like, you guys got to realize I've never been on a camera a day in my life. This could be rather interesting. We started out with 38 viewers, and a matter of a year and a half to 2 years later, we had over 2,000 people find out who we were through Facebook. And I was just like, this is insane. Well, then it was to the point where we were starting to outgrow the Facebook audience, and it was like time to make that next step. Well, a marketing team out of West Virginia approached me, and their son races quarter midgets, husband and wife. They're like, hey, let's sit down and talk. And I said, well, okay. We sat down and talked, and I had their son on my research. And they're like, well, you have made a lot of progress with the whole Facebook thing. We want you to join our marketing team that we're just marketing company we're just starting up as a husband and wife. We want to pay for you to go to YouTube. And I was like, we're what? I'm like, yeah. So I've been over on YouTube for a couple of years now. It's pretty cool.
Awesome, awesome. If you were to guess, how many people do you think you've interviewed just in this whole time of starting a podcast?
Oh God, it's been in the hundreds, if not thousands. It's been pretty insane. It's been pretty epically insane. I've met some really awesome ones in the racing industry like yourself. Um, just alone, Ethan, you go back and we watch some of my YouTube videos. One of my all-time favorite ones to do, and it was just a shot in the dark, and I didn't even think I'd ever be able to accomplish it in my racing show career. I met through the karting world, which you're a part of, and through MPG Motorsports and different karting teams. I was able to track down the late great Dan Weldon, the IndyCar driver's wife Susie, and Oliver and Sebastian, and they've been on my racing show. Oliver and Sebastian have, and I was just like, this is just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember actually just going back a second. About I think about 7 years ago, I did one race with OPN or with OPG, which is the team that Sebastian used to race for. And I remember I did one
Yeah.
race with Sebastian, and him and I got along so well. I remember we were jumping in RC cars after the races. So he's a really good kid.
Oh yeah. Very,
What
very good kid.
kind of racers do you like to interview most?
I like to interview anybody that is in racing, especially the kids, because that's where it starts at. It starts with you kids, and you guys work your way up to the adult racing side of things. And I enjoy talking to kids and adults. I definitely it's macro sprints, carts, oval track carts, sprint cars, uh, like I said, micro sprints, quarter midgets. Yeah, all of that, all of that, all of it. Bandolero series, yes. Legends, yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, gotcha.
yeah.
So you brought up disc golfing. Do you like disc golfing? Do you
I
play it a
do, I
lot?
do, I do. I have a funny story to share with you, Ethan, and it's kind of has to do with my favorite NFL team. I don't know if you watch NFL football in the off season or not. Who's your NFL team before I get started on this? Who's your NFL team?
Oh, it's so tough. It's so tough because we live in KC, but my dad has been a hardcore Broncos fan since the day that it all began. So I'm kind of stuck between the Broncos and the Chiefs, but it's kind of hard not to cheer for the Chiefs since they're doing well. So
I started out being a diehard Green Bay Packer fan. I mean, I had the jerseys, I had the blankets, I had the coat. And I'm a friend of mine, and me and a couple friends one day, I just said to my friends, let's go play some disc golf. Well, you realize it's going to cost you. And I said, well, cost me. What do you mean by that? They're like, well, you're dragging us away from a day of work where we could be doing something around the house and we could be doing something with our family. So it's going to cost you. And I says, hit me with your best shot. Well, they're like, okay, we're going to play 2 rounds of disc golf. If you lose, you have to get rid of all your Green Bay Packer gear. And I was like, ooh, this is brutal. I mean, the jerseys, the jacket, the blanket, the whole ball of wax. And if you lose, you have to join us over on the Pittsburgh Steelers side. And I was like, oh, really? They're like, yeah, but if you win, then we have to join you over on the Packers side. Well, needless to say, I lost by 9 under. And I was just like, oh my God. So to make matters worse, they took me to their friend's public pool, threw me in the pool with my Packer gear, and gave me what was called a cleansing bath. So I had to get rid of all that Packer stuff. Oh yeah, it was pretty brutal.
you still a Steelers fan to this day?
Yep, I have to be. I have to be now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. So, do you have any big races you're getting ready to compete in, Ethan?
So there is the something called the SCCA runoffs, which SCCA travels around nationally. They're a big national series, biggest for Spec Miata, and it is a 7 day event. So it's pretty big. I think we're gonna make a run at it, but it's 3 qualifying days and then one final big day. So we're gonna see how that goes. But
I'm going to give you a challenge here that you're probably. I want to see if you can do this or not. Okay, you said this SCCA thing is a 7 day race. Here's what I would love to see you do. We in Iowa have the most epically insane dirt track race, Ethan, and I would love to see you compete in it in a IMCA stock car or IMCA mod. It is 7 days of racing nonstop on 1 3/8 mile track in Boone, Iowa. It's called the Casey's General Store IMCA Boone Super Nationals. They broke
I have
the
heard of
record this year. They broke the record this year, Ethan, for car count, and it covers 5 to 6 or 5 to 7 classes of cars. They had over 1,000 cars pre-registered for 7 days.
dude. What are the classes in there? Do you know?
They run IMCA Sport Compact, IMCA Hobby Stock, IMCA Stock Cars, late models, IMCA Modified, Sport Mods, and I'm going to think if there's another class in there or not. That might be all the classes. But the most epically insane part of this is, Ethan, is it's 5 to 7 days of racing virtually. Each day, the days that you're scheduled to qualify. If you make it in on the first day, you're safe. But the thing is the qualifying days, you have to be up by 10:30 in the morning, have your pit passes bought. You're qualifying, your hot laps start after that, your heat races in the afternoon. And with the car count, you may not see your feature till 3, 4 o'clock the next morning. You go to bed for a few hours and you have to do it all over again if you don't make it in.
Yeah, that's like a roided up Tulsa shootout right there. That's insane.
It is. It is. And then the last day of competition, if you make it into what's called the big dance, the epic A main, where if you make it into the big dance and that's the granddaddy of them all, they take 28 to 29 cars, line them up 3 wide on a 3/8 mile track. They drop the green flag for 25 to 30 laps, starting 3 wide to see who the best of the best is.
Wow. Starting 3 wide. So it's like wow. So it's like Indy
It's
500 style right there.
It is on a 3-inch mile track, and you're on the edge of your seat for 25 to 30 laps. And your crew
Yeah,
guys are like, just be prepared, have your eyes open, make sure you're watching different situations. Yes.
and please, hopefully, bring this thing back in one piece.
Yes, yes. And whoever wins this big thing, Ethan, it's crazy because whoever wins this big race, you win a brand new motor, brand new car, the brand new race car to the whole ball of wax, plus prize money. It's just crazy. It is
And
crazy.
I guarantee you, there's some crazy hardware trophies there. I guarantee it.
Yeah, there is, and I'll tell you what, Ethan. I don't know how old you are. How old are you, Ethan?
I am 15.
There is a kid that just turned 18, and I'll tell you what. Go find him on my Facebook page. Cheer for him this week because he is crazy. This kid, I met him when I before I got into the racing show bit. I was just like, hey, talking to different kids and stuff like that about their racing careers. He come up through the ranks much like you have done. He raced dirt go karts, Ethan. Age 12, Dad says, hey, I'm running IMCA stock cars. Let's see what we can do here. Well, they went and talked to IMCA and USRA, and they said, well, even though the kid's got a lot of talent, he can't run full time till he's 14, but he can run the non-sanctioned races. Dad's like, okay, I've got a backup IMCA stock car. Let's get him the seat mounted in here. Let's see what happens. His sixth night out, Ethan, he went out and beat 20 to 29 adults and brought home $900 as a 12-year-old.
Whew, as a 12-year, and they had to fight to get him even entered.
Yes, and
That's
then at age 16, he started running full time at 14. Well, at age 16, he went to the first IMCA Bristol Dirt Nationals, Ethan, and brought home a cool $50,000 as for winning that race as a
that's just
16-year-old.
that's a small prize pool. I'm kidding. That's insane.
Yeah, and then on top of that, this big race I'm talking to you about, he's won it 2 years in a row on IMCA stock cars. He just now this year entered it in stock car and modified, and he qualified in the modified at age 18. So he's got himself locked into Saturday night's A main show for the mod.
Yeah, just again trying to go for 3 in a row.
Yes, yes. And he's got his stock car, and if he can make it in the last chance showdown with the stock car, he'll have it in. He'll be locked in for stock car and mod. His dad's already locked into the stock car portion of it, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I'll look for him. I'll look for him on there, and it sounds like a fun race.
Yes,
Like it sounds like a really fun race.
his name is Dolan Murty, DALLON MURTY, and his dad's name is Damon Murty. And I was talking to him and his dad a couple of years ago when they run up here once in a while up here in the Northwest Iowa portion just for the big money shows. And I said to him, I says, so my crazy question is, who works on your cars? And they're like, you're gonna get a laugh out of this, Josh. And I says, well, who is it? They says, my wife, his mom is our crew chief.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. And I says to Dolan and Damon, I says, do you guys have racing nicknames? And they says, we do. Damon's like, we're from Chelsea, Iowa, so I'm called the Chelsea Charger. But he says, you want to hear a good one? Go talk to my son. So I went and talked to Dolan. I says, so do you have a racing nickname? And he says, yes. And he says, it goes back to the days when I was racing dirt go-karts and come up through the ranks. He says, they call me the game changer. I'm changing the way the game is being played.
It's a good nickname. That's a good nickname.
He says, and I said, so what is your car number, Dolan? He says, I drive the 99X stock car. Dad drives the 99D. And he says, in the modified, I drive strictly, I think it's the 99 or 99X mod too. But he says, yeah, I says, so you're out there racing all these big name guys on this IMCA Boone Super Nationals deal. I says, are you the least bit scared going 3 wide? He says, not at all. I'm out there just to get the job done. And he says, that's what it's all about. It's just to get the job done.
Yep. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
job.
Yep. So, Ethan, do you have any more questions for me?
I think I'm out of questions, my friend.
So, Ethan, I want to thank you very much for being on the racing show with me, talking to us about your racing career, getting to know you a little bit better. Can I call you a little bit to thank you in person?
All right. Thank you. Absolute pleasure being on here.
Yes, I will call you a little bit to thank you in person. Is there anybody else you would like to thank for helping you out and getting you this far with racing?
Oh, absolutely. One name that I haven't mentioned yet, in the microsprint side of things, Frank Flood, number one for teaching me everything. Another one, Danny Stein and Skip Jr. They're helping me, still helping me in the road Miata stuff, and that's just a half of them. But yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Yep. Thank you, Ethan. I will let you step out and I will call you in person here in just a little bit to thank you. Okay.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ethan Ayers. Go look him up on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Very, very awesome kid. But ladies and gentlemen, just a little racing news update for you there. Good luck to Oliver. Uh, hold on a second here. Good luck to Oliver Schultz and his racing team as they race this weekend. Good luck to also to Aiden Sullivan, the Black Sheep, and his racing team as they race in Blue Earth this weekend for the All Star race and for the 9/11 race this weekend. Good luck to everybody else racing out there this weekend. Definitely, it's going to be quite interesting to see how these kids are all do this weekend. And good luck to everybody racing the IMC at Casey's General Store Boone Super Nationals. And good luck to Dolan and Damon Murdy as they race the IMC at Casey's General Store Super Nationals also. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a good day. Catch you later on another episode of the Josh Long Full Throttle Racing Show. Hashtag one on YouTube. And one more thing, good luck to Cooper Kelly racing this weekend also. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a good day. Catch you later on another episode of the Josh Long Full Throttle Racing Show. Hashtag one on YouTube. I would like to thank my sponsors, Dirt Track Race Cars out of Esterville, Iowa. They make some pretty awesome racing diecasts. Go hit them up. Definitely for all your racing diecast needs. They've got some new racing diecasts out. They've got the 8D of Doug Wolfgang that he drove in 1989 at the Knoxville Nationals. They also have the number 8 Orange 8 car that he drove in 1990, the 8 car that Doug Wolfgang drove. Also, they have the 164th version of the Nance Sprint car that Sammy Swindell drove in the early 80s. Go buy those up. And also, ladies and gentlemen, go buy up the other release that they have, the new release they have, the number 47 Casey's General Store, Danny Lasowski entry that he drove in 1994. So go buy all 4 of those sprint cars up and go buy all of those diecasts up from Dirt Track Race Cars in Esterville, Iowa. Definitely, they are on the internet. Otherwise, search them out on Google. But also, I'd like to thank Manning Motorsports for sponsoring me and also New England Hemophilia Association. If there's anybody that would like to sponsor me and be on this racing show also, feel free to email me at jjnolan151@gmail.com, or you can call or text me at 712-209-7138. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a good day and catch you later on another episode of the Josh Nolan Full Throttle Racing Show. Hashtag one on YouTube.